Okay, so this is the moment of the show where we're all going to reveal our different choices for 5 characters from Die Hard. We're going to start with John Mcclane, and then we're going to go through to Holly Gennaro, then Al Powell, then Dwayne T. Robinson, and then finally we'll end with Hans Gruber. So let's start with you, Dave. Who is your choice for John Mcclane?
So I'll be honest, there was only one actor that really prominently kind of came into my head with regards to recasting John Mcclane. I'm hoping it's not the same as what either of you two have picked.
It might be. Let's see if we can guess.
Go on then, guess.
Chris Pratt.
No, I did consider Chris Pratt, but he's not the guy.
Yeah, but that's an Adam answer, Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
He could be my answer on most weeks, I think.
No, I can't get it. I can't read you.
So I wanted it to be an everyman. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
Somebody with a crazy kind of glint in their eye. Cocky. Stocky. Didn't mean those two things to rhyme, but
yeah.
So, even though this person isn't an American actor, I didn't even stop to think whether or not they should do it in an American accent. But I just thought, for me, Tom Hardy would be a perfect modern day John McClane. I like Tom Hardy, so you know.
Yeah, I considered him. I did consider him. I just thought he's a bit too. When you say everyman now, I mean everyman is in. They've never played a proper action role. Now Tom Hardy is your action hero now.
Is he though? Really? I mean, in Venom, he plays an everyman.
He does. Yeah, you are right.
Great in Venom.
Who have you chosen, Lloyd?
Well, I've gone a bit differently.
Okay.
So I've gone back to the Roderick Thorpe novel.
Yeah. Oh, you've gone older, have you?
Yes, I've gone older, and
nice.
It's not an everyman because I'm thinking.
John Wayne?
Yeah. Yeah, we're done. No, so I've gone cheeky.
Christopher Plummer.
Chico from X Factor.
Yeah.
Not as old as Christopher Plummer.
Cheeky, basically being an action hero in his time, being an everyman in his time. He's about 70 now. I think he turned 70 last week. Kurt Russell playing the father of Holly.
Oh, I see.
Back to the novel.
I like that. See what he did there.
Because you think of the Mcclane quips and being like, he's just cheeky, isn't he? He's a bit hard faced, but like quite funny. Dial's got like a comedy undertow, hasn't it? Really, I think it'd be really well to do it. If I'm not allowed to go back to the novel, considered a few there. I did consider Tom Hardy as well, and I went just a bit left field.
Not my choice.
I haven't gone for him. Keegan Michael Kay.
Nice.
Because I wanted someone who's not really done the action genre, apart from I can name one film, obviously, The Predator, but he's known for his comedy, and so where he's not playing it as a comedy role, where it's got to be straight laced, but you're making little quips. I thought he did quite well. I think.
You see that's funny that you've gone two completely different ways. I think I've gone a third way actually. I mean, I looked at Chris Pratt because I thought he was one of those. He's one of those people that actually, if you had not had some of the movies he's been in, so if you had just had Parks and Recreation as the comedy series in the States that he'd been in,
he would have been perfect. Does he ever?
He'd have been absolutely perfect. And actually, I think that's one of the reasons why he works.
They stole that opportunity for Guardians because he was basically overweight. Yeah. He was the comedy guy. He was like, doing like his faces in Parks and Rec. And then all of a sudden, Guardians of the Galaxy, 6-pack, and he's like, he's this action hero.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. And I think that because of that, he's almost sort of discounted. And I did think at one point maybe somebody a bit out of left field, like Oscar Isaac, could be quite useful because he's got that kind of glint in his eye. You've seen him as Poe. Yeah, you've seen him as Poe Dameron. He's got that kind of everyman kind of feel.
He's too out and out good looking, Oscar Isaac.
Well, I did think about that, and then Richard Madden. I thought he'd be quite good. I thought he was particularly good in The Bodyguard, as showing that he can be that kind of reluctant hero. And I thought maybe the kind of twist is that he's not known for comedy, and maybe he can do that kind of sardonic kind of attitude to things. He can certainly do the same thing he's done in Game of Thrones, and he also does in The Bodyguard quite well. So I would choose him just as a completely different style. But I think it takes all sorts. I think when you know somebody so well as we do Bruce Willis, it's hard to think of anyone else playing that role, and that's a good thing, really, because it makes it so synonymous with that character.
I don't think anyone can take it from the way that was written and the way we've all known it. You watch it back, the way he performs that role is brilliant, and he hasn't done the same since, really. Die Hard 2 was similar, but the way he played John McClane, you couldn't replace him.
Well, let's have a look at Holly Gennaro. So
let's have a look at Holly Gennaro.
So Dave, let's start with you. Holly Gennaro, or Holly McClane? Who would you have in that role?
So before I tell you who I chose, I'm going to tell you why I struggled with this one. So I thought about it quite a lot. Ultimately, I decided on two. I know that's not a cop-out. One of them is more well known, but I get the impression that she should be a slightly less known actress in that role, actually. So my number one choice was Emily Van Camp, who is in the Marvel movies, plays Sharon Carter's niece, is it? Yeah. Agent Carter's niece, or is she called Sharon Carter?
I think she's Sharon Carter, isn't she?
Yeah, and my kind of then second choice, slightly more well known, is Emma Stone. And it's worth saying.
I had Emma Stone.
I also considered Jennifer Lawrence, something about the way they look, but I just felt ultimately she was too kind of well known for a role which is relatively minor as far as I'm concerned in that movie.
I'll go before you, Lloyd.
You'll have the same as me.
Actually, I considered Hayley Atwell. Interestingly, you said Agent Carter. I thought that maybe it was to do with her look and her kind of sternness and her sort of power that she gives off. But I did think of Hayley Atwell. But actually, I settled on a more sassy, dynamic actress, which is Amy Adams.
Yeah. Because
I think you need somebody who can
kind of style.
Yeah, but I was thinking you need somebody who can give as good as they get. That's going to, that you can see standing up to him, and I can see her being fiery from all the roles I've seen her in. So I'm quite happy with Amy Adams being a good possible.
John McClane drives everyone insane. Well, that rhymes as well, actually. Because you can see it, like Holly's like, has he made the flight or not? And the rings were saying, yeah, I'm coming there now, and she's still pissed off with him. Even though she's happy he's coming, and like turns the photo down, doesn't she? The family photo, she just puts it on its face because she's like, he drives everyone crazy. As she says, as she sees the terrorists are going crazy, she goes, it must be John. He does that to everybody. Yeah. So yeah, it's absolutely right. They need to give as good as you get, and that's why I've gone for Emily Blunt.
Ooh, she was my third choice.
If 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of the Benghazi hadn't been made, I would have had John Krasinski as John McClane.
I saw him mentioned as in a few articles about
because he's the everyman. He was from The Office, and then that's why was it Bruckheimer who did 13 Hours.
Michael Bay, but yeah, probably was Bruckheimer. It was Michael Bay.
It was Bay, yeah, wasn't it?
They reckon Krasinski was in the run to play Captain America, and they reckon now he's also the favourite to play. What's the Reed Richards? Is it in the Fantastic Four?
Oh, cool.
They're going to the MCU. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's really. I loved him in The Office. I love him in 13 Hours, and he's great in A Quiet Place as well. Yeah, with Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
So your choice, Emily Blunt.
His wife.
So my choice is Emily Blunt. I think she'd be great. I cast her as the daughter of Kurt Russell because I think she's got the maturity as an actress as well to be able to do that to and fro.
The next character is Al Powell.
Yeah.
I like. I've got a good one.
Who would you choose, Lloyd, as Sergeant Al Powell?
No, I'll go second.
Okay, Dave. Who would you choose as Sergeant?
I'm happy to go first, and this is where I embarrassed myself. To be honest, I struggled with this one. and I've probably gone so stereotypical with this, so I apologise. I'll start with my second choice, which is just so laughable, which was Kevin Hart. I really apologise for that. My first choice, in a way,
that's Adam's number one.
My first choice,
Adam's furiously scribbling.
Yeah, my first choice is even more laughable in a way. But there's certain irony in choosing this person. So I didn't realise actually that they played cops so many times in their career, given their earlier career as a rapper who weren't particularly keen on cops. So I'll give you a second to think about that.
Is it Ice Cube?
Ice Cube, yeah.
Ice Cube, I like it.
I'm going for Ice Cube. That's my choice.
F the police. F the police.
I like the irony though. That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Have you ever watched Ride Along? It's actually quite good. Right. So Lloyd, you're Al Powell.
Right. So he's kind of a sidekick. This guy made a living from being sidekicks. I think it'd be funny. I think in this day and age as well, it would bring like an 80s link back. So I've gone for Sean Astin. Nice. Sergeant Al Powell.
Yeah, he'd work as a beat cop. Yeah.
He's basically he's been a sort of beat cop, whatever. He's made a mistake. He's had a desk job. So Sean Astin's a little bit more rotund these days, driving his beat car. He would have worked with the ranks, so he's a sergeant. I think he just like fits the role quite well. It could be funny. Yeah. It'd be it's nostalgic as well. Everyone loves Sean Astin. Everyone hated him being killed as Bob in Stranger Things. I was quite happy with my choice.
I went two completely different choices, and hopefully you understand the difference, the reasons for the difference. So my second choice was Ving Rhames.
How old's Ving Rhames now, though?
I don't know, but I like the idea of him being, like in his 50s. He's in his
50s, Adam.
He can play in his 50s, can't he? You've seen Mission Impossible.
Choice is Yaphet Kotto.
So that was trying to keep a sort of similar style in terms of intensity, yet still being able to kind of work well with whoever it was that was playing John McClane. But then I thought, what about if we were to make the role a little bit more serious, a little bit modern, and decided, what about Viola Davis? Because I think she would actually be a really good foil for John McClane, and she could play that part. I think she could play that part really well. So I've gone for Viola Davis as my Al Powell, which she could be, because she could be Allison.
Or Alana.
Okay, so this might be a funny one, actually. I've got two really funny choices for Dwayne T. Robinson. So would you mind if I go first?
I'm just going to preempt this by saying I think I've knocked this out of the park. So
okay,
I have.
Okay, so there's a particular cop that we are aware of that has been in things very, very recently. Very recently, if you watch particular series. And so I was thinking that a good choice of Dwayne T. Robinson would be Randall Park, who's the FBI cop who's in Ant-Man and also in
Jimmy Woo.
Sorry?
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah.
He's too nice to be Dwayne Robinson.
Yeah, but I think somehow that could work really, really well. So I thought about him, and then I think the Dwayne T. Robinson that knocks out of the park. The only problem is that he's in other superhero movies, and it makes me sort of wonder whether he's sort of overused, and that's J.K. Simmons. I think he'd be a brilliant Dwayne T. Robinson. Dave, who is your choice for Dwayne?
So the guy that I chose for Dwayne Robinson, to my mind, he looks a little bit like the original actor. Normally plays bad guys. Occasionally plays bad guys that aren't bad guys through and through, which I think possibly is what Dwayne Robinson is. He's not actually a bad guy, is he? He's just a bit of
a cop.
Yeah, exactly. But in the context of Die Hard, he is. Okay, so the person I've chosen to play Dwayne Robinson is Ben Mendelsohn. You know who Ben Mendelsohn
thought of
is?
him. Yeah, I thought about him. Yeah,
Lloyd
that's
doesn't.
good.
Right,
Yeah.
so
I do.
he's
He's
in
Vanilla Sky.
no Rogue
Oh, no, he's like
One.
the guy in
Rogue
no, he's
One.
like,
He's
Rogue One, and
no,
also he
he's
plays Talos in Captain Marvel.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, Ready Player One. Him.
Yeah.
I think he'd be amazing playing Dwayne Robinson, and clearly you don't share my enthusiasm.
No, I think I'm won over on that. I think if I had a choice of Dwayne T. Robinson now, it is definitely Ben Mendelsohn. But I haven't heard Lloyd's.
All right, thanks. No pressure, Lloyd. I've won, but no pressure.
No. This is going to knock it out of the park because I think he can play it really well. I think he could be a dick, but also like a lovable dick. He's also directing. Who is it, Adam? Who's directing this movie? Who's also in the movie?
Who have you got directing and also starring? It's not. You can't have John Krasinski as Dwayne T. Robinson.
No, because I still want the 80s vibe as well. Maybe a bit earlier than the 80s vibe. I want it a bit funny, but like proper action. Maybe if you head to the other side of the world, maybe sort of towards Australia,
like
New Zealand.
Paul Hogan.
I think it'd be great. I think
Taika would be good. Yeah,
I think it'd be cool because he knows where to sort of set the level with being a dick, but still, playing a role. And
I can see that.
Great now. Yeah, I can see that. Do
you know what? I'm actually starting to think now, Dave, that Taika would be better as Dwayne, and actually Ben Mendelsohn would be better as Hans Gruber.
Yeah, I was thinking he's a proper baddie, Mendelsohn.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back with the final character, probably the least controversial character to choose. I think I'm happy to say on behalf of all three of us that if you were a casting director recasting Hans Gruber in 2021, you almost certainly would only choose one particular person. And for that reason, we probably shouldn't choose him. But are we all agreed Christoph Waltz is probably the best choice for Hans Gruber?
Best and the worst, yeah. Because
exactly.
it was basically your choice that me and Dave knew you were going to pick.
Yeah. Who I initially chose as well.
So I've decided to go for a completely different character, somebody who is also an English actor, also a actor who is capable of being debonair and also potentially quite sinister. And I would choose Benedict Cumberbatch as my Hans Gruber.
Never considered him, to be honest.
No.
Who's up next? Lloyd, you go first.
Well, I was going to guess yours, and after we knew it was Christopher Waltz and you couldn't use it anymore because we guessed it beforehand, I thought you were going to go for Giancarlo Esposito. Anyway, I went for keeping the European theme going from the original Vincent Castle.
It's unusual. So, Dave, who did your choice of Hans Gruber be?
Right, so I did put a lot of thought into this one. I tried to think about the essence of the character and not just kind of like physical kind of attributes. I've got a few names here. I've got three. So I felt ultimately, I don't know why, I felt ultimately that it was important to have another English actor play Hans Gruber and kind of do it in a slightly hammy way, but like an actor that was of sufficient pedigree that they could actually pull it off.
Idris Elba.
No. And hopefully you'll see why I chose the person I did. And I will also say that, this has to be understood in terms of the fact that this would never happen. This could and would never happen. This guy could never play Hans Gruber in a remake, but I feel like he would be good. If we were going back to when the movie was originally made, if this was this actor's first role and he was an unknown and he did it, I think he would absolutely nail it, but he couldn't do it now. So my choice is Sacha Baron Cohen.
Nice.
So the runners-up on my list were Domhnall Gleeson.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought he could make a good Hans Gruber. And then the kind of left field choice, possibly a little bit predictable because the whole villain connection, was Adam Driver.
Right. He could work.
Not impressed. I thought I'd nailed that one, to be honest.